Good morning student, this is Vishwanath sir and today I am going to take class 10 geography and I'll be starting the chapter resource. So please follow the class. So we start the chapter now. Resource. Resource, everything available in our environment that humans value and is capable of satisfying their needs is called resource. So what is resource? Resource is anything that has the capacity to satisfy your needs. But satisfying needs is not only the criteria. It also has to fulfill three more criterias with it. And what are those criterias? The criterias are it should be economically feasible, culturally acceptable, and technologically accessible. Now, when I say economically feasible, what does it mean? It means that the source that we take up and utilize, it should give some benefit. If it is not beneficial, then we cannot consider it as a resource. Second, it should be culturally acceptable. We have different set of people with different kinds of requirement. So every community or every type of resource is not acceptable to everyone. So in that sense, it should be culturally acceptable to everybody. And finally, we come to the last criteria, and that is technologically accessible. It should be accessible technologically. Means that we should have the technology to utilize that resource. If we don't have that technology, then that resource is useless for us. So we should have technology with it. Now we come to the next section, and that is classification of resource. Resource can be classified on the basis of origin, exhaustibility, and ownership, state of development. So there are four types of classification: based on origin, based on exhaustibility, based on ownership, based on development of state. On basis of origin, we have two types: biotic, abiotic. Biotic are those resources which are living, that means plant and animals, whereas abiotic means all the non-living resources. On the basis of exhaustibility, we have renewable and non-renewable. Renewable are those which can renew itself by chemical or physical process, and non-renewable are those resources which cannot renew itself. Example of non-renewable is minerals, fossil fuel. Once these resources get exhausted, they cannot be reproduced, whether physically or whether it is mechanically. Then we come to ownership. Ownership can be individual, community, national, and international. Individual resource. Individual resource are those resources which are owned by one particular person. It can be a plot of land, it can be your house, it can be your books, it can be your personal computer or your mobile phone. This belongs exclusively to you, and that's why they are called individual resource. Then we have community resource. Community resources are those resources which are used by all the people, like, or rather by a community. Like the park that you have in your locality, or the school bus, or normally the transport system. All these things are utilized not by only one individual but by many, and therefore they are called community resources. Then we come to national resources. National resources include all the resources that are available within the boundary of the country, political boundary of the country, and that is national resource. And international resources are those resources which lie beyond 200 kilometers into the sea from the coast of the country. So this area where the resources are found beyond 200 kilometers, these resources are called exclusive economic zone, and the ocean is called international resource. So the water beyond 200 kilometer of exclusive economic zone in the ocean and are called international resource. No one can use these resources without permission of international institution. No country or individual has the right to take or access the resources that are found in the international waters. Next we come to states of development. We have potential, developed, stock and reserve. What is potential resource? Potential resources are those which are found in a region but have not been utilized. So what is potential resource? Potential resources are those resources which is found in a region but nobody have used it. Then we have developed resource. Developed resources are those resources whose quality and quantity has been determined for utilization. So developed resources are those resources whose quality, we know about their quality, what quality they are, how much they are, and they are ready to be used. Then we come to stock. These resources have been surveyed but cannot be used due to lack of technology. So stock of resource are those resources, stock resources are those resources for which we have surveyed. We know that resource is there, but we cannot use that resource. What is the reason? The reason is that we don't have the technology to utilize the resource. And finally, we come to reserve. The resource that have been surveyed and we can use them with present technology, but their use has not been started. Reserve is those that has been surveyed. We know that there is reserve and we know about the quality and quantity, and we also have the technology through which we can utilize them, but we have not used it. That means we have the quality, we know about the quality, we know about the quantity, we have surveyed it, we have the technology, but we have not utilized it. So this is all about resource definition and classification of resource.